this is another subject, but when you see other people, they're not Muslim, and they're getting some very good things in this dunya. Why? Because it comes from Allah, yeah? So why is Allah going to give some people so much, and they don't even believe in Allah? Or they make partners, sure, with Allah. Why? Why is Allah going to give them anything? There's a hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it tells us that if the dunya, the universe, is worth to Allah the wing of a mosquito, the wing of a mosquito, the whole dunya, if it was really worth as much as one wing of a mosquito, Allah would not give kuffar even a drop to drink out of the whole universe. It means to Allah, this dunya is of no value. This is a place where we come into this dunya as babies, and we go out in a janazah, in a funeral, and the only thing that counts is what we were thinking and doing while we were here. You're not going to take anything with you into the grave, right? Try to fit a Lamborghini. Lamborghini, you know the big car? Try to fit that into your grave. It's not going to work. And if you have a really big house, nobody's going to bury that house with you. It's not going to work. In fact, your own children are going to fight over that house and that car and all the rest of it. They want it. So it means that once that you are in the grave, it's over. It's over. Except for what? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, three things continue. Three things continue in the qabr, in the grave. Who knows what those three things are? Somebody know? Anybody know? What three things? Sadaqah Jariyah, yeah.
Pious child,
a pious child making dua for you. Very good. And knowledge which is gained for the benefit of Allah's deen and shared. And that's exactly what you are doing right now. You're doing one of those three things right this minute. And this is amazing. Now, when you start doing some charity work, that's be number two. You have two things going for you. And then when you have children making dua for you, that's three. So I want to encourage all of us to remember these three things, because nothing else is going to continue. Nothing else is going to continue. Sadaqah Jariyah, which is actually when you've done some kind of work for charity that continues after you're gone. As long as that's continuing, you're getting rewards for it. The one making dua for you, maybe your own child, but any child. Now, do you have sponsors that help some of these children in here go to school?
Some of them, but
yeah.
We need more.
I'll mention this right now so on television people will know. Yes, they have some and they need more. And if you're watching right now, if you would like to sponsor a child who is going to school to learn exactly what they're learning right here in this majlis, then you will have one of those three things. That is a guarantee from the Prophet ﷺ. So if you have the ability to sponsor somebody, you should do that. And when you guys grow up and get out of here, try your best to remember how important it is. And maybe you can sponsor somebody else. Then you get double reward. One, for going through what you're doing, how you're learning, and then you're going to share this knowledge with others. But also encourage people, and you yourself sponsor some students. And now you got 2. And then obviously there's another thing. If you ask the youth in here, and I'm going to ask you right now to repeat with me a dua. Ready, everybody? This is the Arabic part of it's Arabic, okay? Allahumma, Ya Rabbi, give hidayah to Yusuf Estate and all of us, Ameen. I collect my commission check up front. Alhamdulillah. All right, we're going to take a short break. We're going to be right back right after this. Stay tuned and keep watching and stay guided with Guidance TV.
It's clear.
All right?
I was saying it's 2 o'clock now.
Okay, put it back on so I can do a wind-up for it.
Okay.
Okay, we're back. We've been talking about being guided by Almighty Allah. And what are some of the signs of guidance? When a person is lost in the woods or lost in the desert, they don't know which way to go. Is that right? They don't know if I should go right or left, up or down. I don't know which way to go. So I need guidance. If I'm out in the ocean in a boat and I can't see the sun, it's cloudy, and I'm lost, I don't have a compass, I need guidance. What are some of the ways that somebody could be guided in that condition? Well, I already mentioned a compass, showing you which way is north, south, east, west. That's a very good thing to have. Except what? Except if you didn't know if you need to go east or west or north or south. You don't know which way to go. Well, I know that's north, but I still don't know which way I need to go. So what's better than a compass? Actually, a map is pretty good, right? Now, a map is showing you, okay, I must be by this big tree, and there's a mountain over there, that's good to go, and where I want to go is over here. I think that's the way I want to go. But what if I'm not seeing any of the things on the map? I still got a problem. I got a map, but I don't know where I am on the map. Plus, I don't know east, west, north, or south. Now, suppose I have the compass and the map. I might have a better chance because I could just keep walking in a direction until I see some of the things that are on the map. Then I can try to figure east, west, north, south, and go this way. But I don't know exactly where my destiny is. Where am I supposed to go? What's my goal? I want to go home. I want to go to work. Maybe not. But I want to go somewhere. So still a compass and a map that's excellent, but still not perfect. How about this? How about if I know somebody who is from that area and he knows it inside out and he goes around all the time, even at night, and he never gets lost? It's called a guide, right? So if you have a guide, it will take you. How easy is that? You just got to hold on, you know, kind of like a teacher grabs a kid. You just grab him tight and don't let go, and eventually you'll get out of the place where you are. You could even tell him, I want to go to such and such. He knows where it is. He will take you. So this is how important it is to have somebody to help you. And this is what the job of an imam, the job of an alim, a teacher, the job of the sheikh, somebody who is old, hopefully wise. But this is the job of the people that we know who are in our education system to help us and guide us through our life. And you never get too old to ask for help. If you ever said, oh, I don't want to ask for help because I don't want to act like I don't know what I'm doing, this is shaitan. This is the devil himself. He wants you to stay lost and also become arrogant. Arrogant is when, oh, I know everything. And really, no matter how much you know, you still don't know a drop in a bucket compared to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says in Surah Baqarah, and you know this, I'm sure everybody knows Ayatul Kursi. A part of Ayatul Kursi, يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ وَلَا يَئُودُهُ حِفْظُهُمَا وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْعَظِيمُ. Right? That's only half of the ayah. But Allah is telling you that He has all knowledge of everything. Everything. Front, back, up, down, forward, backward. Everything that there is to know. He knows it all instantly. So He doesn't have to think like we do. Like we go, no. His knowledge is absolutely perfect. That's why He's Al-Alim. That's His name, one of His names. Al-Alim. The knowledge. It's not He has knowledge. He is knowledge. And all knowledge comes from Allah. He's saying this, but then He goes on to say, and you don't have any knowledge. Zero. Except what He gives you. What He wills to give you. إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. Then He goes on to say, وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Kursi. What's kursi? Anybody think it's a throne? No, arsh is a throne. Kursi is a chair. Somebody asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the ayah. They said, is that mentioned there? Is that the arsh of Allah, the throne of Allah? He said, no. Huwa Allah. He said, no, it is not. He said the kursi is in front of the arsh. Look at this. He's going to make a comparison in size. Like a ring in the desert. How big is the desert? Sahara Desert goes all the way from one side of Africa to the other. The desert in Arabia goes all the way down to Aruba Khali. This is the empty quarter. I've been there. You don't want to even think about being lost there. These giant deserts of the world, and a ring dropped in there, you'll never find it. In fact, if you go looking for it, they're never going to find you. Seriously. A ring in the desert, and this is a comparison of what? Kursi to arsh. Sub-narrator of this same hadith is saying, and the comparison of the universe, not the earth, the universe to in other words, the DUNY, to this kursi is also like a ring in the desert. Now the earth is like a ring in the desert to the universe. We know that from science. But our whole universe, like a ring in the desert to the kursi. The kursi, like a ring in the desert to the arsh of Allah. And He never gets weary or tired of taking care of any of it. And He is mighty and majestic and above His throne. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Never ever try to compare Allah to anything He creates, ever. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us. Allah increases in knowledge. Rabbi zidni ilma. And we ask Almighty Allah to give us good in this life and good in the next life and save us from the punishment of the hellfire. Rabbana atina fi dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. And then we like to always say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. I wanted to mention one more thing. And this is a responsibility of each one of you. Because when you get older and you grow up and you get married and you have children, how do you want those children to treat you? You want them to be like joking around, pulling tricks on you, insulting you, saying bad things in front of your face to your friends. Is this the kind of children you want? Exactly how do you want your children to treat you? This is the kind of treatment you should be giving to your parents and to your teachers. Because Allah can easily give you children to treat you the same or worse. So be careful in your treatment of adults, your teachers, and especially your mother. Your mother. Your mother. And then your brother. You all know the hadith. Your mother made you learn it. I know that. Anyhow, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, hu alladhi ja'alna muslimin. Until next time, stay guided. What guide is TV?
Clear.
Good. I really did have a great time being with all of you today. I wish we had more time, but we had to play the game of traffic. The traffic game. You know that game?
Yeah, it's only played in New York.
You know, no, it's played in Los Angeles too, trust me. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I'm so happy to have this chance to be with all of you. And wait a minute, hold on. I think this is the mic. Yeah, they got tape on their mic too, did you know that?
Smart people.
Smart people.
You know,
Cheap
geniuses
mics.
they think alike.
Whoop, whoop, okay.
They're coming right up.
Give you a couple of seconds to get this stuff
Yes,
out
sir.
of the way. And if anybody have a question, any question you like, but one condition. Before you ask me any question, be sure I know the answer because it makes me look smart. Anybody have a question? Are you patting your head or you have a question? Oh, okay. Alhamdulillah. Anybody?
Well,
They know everything.
They already know everything?
Yeah.
MashaAllah, I should be asking
You
them.
should be asking them, yeah.
Yeah. Well, how many checks could woodchuck could chuck wood? Zero. They don't chuck wood. If a hen and a half lay an egg and a half and a day and a half on a grass doorknob, how long does it take a rooster to lay a hard-boiled egg on a brass doorknob?
how did you become Muslim?
Yeah, that's a better question. I like that one. How did I become a Muslim? If you read the Quran, you already know by the qadr of Allah. The hidayah comes from Allah, alhamdulillah. But actually, I was trying to convert Muslims to become Christians. Because I met a Muslim and I like the guy. I don't want him to go to hell. So I want to tell him about how to be saved by Jesus. It made sense to me, just like running away from the school. It made sense because I didn't know any better. It wasn't until Allah guided me that I opened my eyes and I was listening to what the man was saying and I realized what he's saying. What I'm telling him, he's saying the same thing, only better. Because Jesus, alayhi salam, Isa, he was a Muslim. And he was telling people how to be saved from the hellfire. In the Bible, and I've read the Bible many times, in the Bible it says that they asked Jesus. Now this is an English translation of a Latin translation of a Greek translation of a book that doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so that's what the Bible is today. But it still has some things in it that make a lot of sense. And some of it even is very close or exactly like Islam. So they asked him a question. They said, what's the greatest commandment? And look what he said. The greatest commandment is, and he said, O Israel, because he's talking to the children of Israel. The greatest commandment, O Israel, is to know the Lord your God, is one Lord, and Him you have to worship with all your heart, all your mind, all your strength, and all your soul. And then a commandment that comes after it, to love your brother as yourself. And that's exactly what Islam is teaching us. And it's in their book. If you want to know where it is, I'll tell you. The first book of the New Testament, called Matthew 12:29. 12:29, Matthew. Read it. And you say, wow, that's Islam right there. Now, for the ones who say, well, the Old Testament, you know, we don't take that. This is not Old Testament. This is the New. This is the Bible for the Christians. And if they say, well, you want to worship Jesus, well, He told you not to worship Him. He told you to worship God. It says it right there. So if you know Jesus prayed, and it's throughout the New Testament, He's praying, asking God, praying, asking God. According to them, according to Christians, He died on a cross. According to us, no. No. Allah lifted Him up and something else was shown to them. That's what it says, translation from Arabic. So amazing. They want to pray to somebody that didn't get what He wanted. He was praying and saying, don't put me on the cross. But He didn't get what He wanted. And He told you to pray to God. He prayed to God. We believe He got what He wanted. He didn't go on the cross. And we believe that we should pray to God like He prayed to God. What's the problem? And they want to pray to somebody who, according to them, didn't get what he prayed for, and you're going to pray for him, and he's dead, and you're going to ask, maybe not. So until you get the compass, the map, and I consider like the Quran is my map, you know what I mean? And you start getting this hidayah, guidance from Allah, then nobody can help you. But coming here and learning here and asking Allah every night, get up and ask Allah, never miss that. You'd be surprised how much you'll be able to understand of what you learn. I encourage all of you really to spend some time every day understanding. When you read something in the Quran, it's beautiful. Then ask Allah, let me understand what you just said. Let me understand it. I want to understand it. Because this makes you a much better person, and a better father, a better husband, and for the sisters, a better wife, and a better teacher as well. So this is a very good advice. And inshallah, I hope I take my own advice. Inshallah. Yes.
Another question?
Another question?
If you don't mind. How do we explain to a non-Muslim why does a non-believer in God goes to hell for eternity? Why eternity? Why not for a specific amount of time? When he lives in this world for a specific time, why does he get punished for eternity?
That's a very good question. Our brother is asking, what's your name? Ahmed. So the question, how do you explain to somebody, like a Christian, for instance, they're asking, why would somebody go to hell forever? Why not just a specific time? Even if they're a non-believer. Well, when they ask me this kind of question, I like to start with them about the way they understand. I tell them, I have good news and bad news. Which one you want first? Huh? No matter what they say, I say, well, I'm going to give you the good news. That's my choice, not yours. So, the good news is, nobody who dies is going to remain in the grave forever. No. Everybody's going to get resurrected. Now, Christians only believe they get resurrected. Everybody else doesn't get resurrected. No, everybody's going to be resurrected. Everybody will get to be there for the day of judgment, and we'll all be together. It's the good news. You're not in the grave anymore. But the sun is kind of coming close. Now we're getting close to the bad news. The sun is coming close. You're standing in your own sweat, and it's for like hundreds of years, and you're waiting and you're waiting. Finally, the judgment begins. Everybody gets a shot. Everybody gets their rights on that day. Anybody harmed you even a tiny bit, you'll get your rights. So it means that some Muslims who were bad, did some bad things, they didn't make tawbah for it, they didn't repent, so they will go to hell. Some Christians who were bad, time of Jesus, they were bad, they did some bad things, they will go to hell. Some Jewish will go to hell. But those who had real firm commitment and belief to La ilaha illallah, they will get out of hell eventually. Nobody will stay in the hellfire forever if they truly believe. But what about the ones who absolutely don't want to believe and stop and think what they're saying? I don't want to be with Allah. That's what they're saying. You don't want to be with Allah? Okay. Allah's in Jannah. This is when you go to Jannah, that's the closest you're ever going to get to Allah. Right? And you don't want to be there? Okay. So, what else is there? That's what they ask for. Now, one of the things we know from the Quran, that these people are going to be saying, oh, just give me another chance. Oh, you know, I didn't know, blah, blah, blah. Give me another chance. Put me back in the world. You see, I'll be different. But Allah already knows they won't be different. One of the things that makes sense, though, is the story, the hadith of Rasulullah, that when Adam ﷺ was created, Allah put all of the souls, all of us were in the backbone of Adam. Everybody. Allah pulled all of us out of the backbone of Adam, and all of us at the same time he said, am I not your Lord? Aren't I your Lord? Yes or no? And we all said, yes. Everybody said it. Why? Well, in front of Allah, there wasn't any option. There's no option. But then he erased that and put us back in the backbone of Adam. Now, none of us remember that meeting. But when you are created again, you know, when you come back as on the day of judgment, then you'll remember it. And this is why people will be going, I messed up. Yeah, because you got free choice. If you see Allah, you don't have any choice. If you hear Allah, you've got no choice. Because it's overpowering. It's beyond anything we can even imagine. So in this creation where we are now, you have choices. You would not have those choices if you were already close to Allah. But here, you have a choice. Choose to believe or disbelieve. Choose to be good, choose to be bad. And the only thing that you're going to be asked about is the choices you made, not the choices that somebody else made. Make sense? Once you come with this explanation or something similar, you'll be surprised. They'll be like, okay, I gotta go. Or maybe they accept Islam. That's a very good question. I'll take one more question, then we gotta wrap it up. Yes?
Actually, it's not a question, it's just a suggestion. I studied at another university and I was following you, and my teacher was Dr. Muhammad Salah, who was working with you in Huda TV. And now I'm working with Darul Uloom, alhamdulillah, Arabic teacher. My suggestion is, we can choose the top students here to join in a program organized by you and supervised by you in Huda TV. We can call it Imams tomorrow, tomorrow's Imams, tomorrow's leaders.
Okay, this question, this needs to be done over the phone, not here.
I'll be in contact.
Okay.
Yeah?
I'll be in contact.
Yeah, let him talk.
Okay, thank you so much.
And no more commercials.
Jazakallah khair.
Okay, somebody else had a question. What's your question?
Stand up.
Stand up, yeah. If you just come over here because I don't hear too good. Tell me your name. What? Takbir. How old are you, Takbir? 9 years old, mashallah, mashallah. You have a question?
If you're like in the moon and it's like the day of Joseph and then the sun goes to earth and if you're in the moon, so
Go ahead.
if you're like in the moon and do you die or
Okay, this, by the way, if you would have asked me this question 50 years ago, I would have laughed you off the planet. But today, Elon Musk, you know who that is, Tesla, electric cars, he is having very clear statements that he's building these ships, rocket ships, to take people to the moon. Yes, and this is serious stuff. That's what they think they're going to do. Not only to the moon, to other planets, and they're actually putting money up for it right now, billions of dollars. Yeah, we've got people starving to death in Africa, but he's doing the $1 billion to go to the moon, right? Should we send him a letter? We should send him a letter and tell him, by the way, when you get there, there's not going to be any McDonald's. Just in case he didn't know. Anyhow, so how do you understand being on the moon?
you take your mask off and you don't have any oxygen and you die?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, but how would you even get there?
I don't know.
One of the things I learned from some scholars of Islam, they said, if your question really has no relevance to your particular situation that you're in, maybe it's a better thing not to ask the question. So, are you planning on going to the moon today or anytime soon? No, okay. So, probably we won't worry about that until Elon Musk actually makes it to the moon. Is that okay? You accept that?
Yes.
MashaAllah. Takbir. I like your name. Thank you for a good question, MashaAllah. Anybody else have anything before we wrap it up? Come on.
What are your thoughts on feminism?
Come on, come on.
Shut up.
Short. Oh, got tall fast. Tell us your name.
Rafi.
Rafi, how old are you? 16 years old. When I was 17, I got my first wife. Thinking about stuff like that now? Not yet? I'm sure you're 16. Anyway, go ahead. What's your question?
What are your thoughts on feminism and how do you refute today's ideology of feminism?
Thank you very much. Good question, Rafi. Actually, you know what feminism is, right? Huh? Women. I like women. And my thoughts, good thoughts. Lots of good thoughts. Starting with my mom, even though she took me to the school, I still love her anyway. And my sisters, I never had any brothers when I grew up. So I had sisters, loved them. Especially because they treat me so good. You know, I'm the only brother. I think what your question is more about a movement called feminism, though, right? Yeah. It's very interesting that you brought this question up because just before we got here, Yusuf is with us over here in the back with the green cap. He showed me a video of one sheikh who's talking about the feminist movement. And now this is coming from the sheikh, and I'm not sure about his references, but it had a lot of relevance. Everybody knows what the Dajjal is, right? Dajjal. Na'udhu billah. Na'udhu billah. In every salah, we are asking protection from Dajjal. At the end of the salah, we'll always ask Allah to save us from the fitna of the Dajjal. So, and for the benefit of anybody watching this in the future, we might mention it's also called Antichrist, because he's imitating Jesus, acting like he's Jesus as a God, and doing some really amazing things. And a lot of people are convinced by him. But there is something in Islam talking about the women of Dajjal. The women of Dajjal. Did anybody hear about this before? Today was my first day to learn about this. I want to watch the video again. I do, because women of Dajjal. And he's saying that the women of Dajjal, and is a description, because he's quoting from some hadith, talking about that these women are naked, although they're wearing clothes. And some of the other things that he talked about from the hadith. I want to try to keep it short because I don't want to give his lecture anyway. But he was saying that the things that the women are moving toward, calling it feminism, is actually moving exactly to become women of the Dajjal. Now, my personal experience with this, okay, I can't comment more on that till I learn more about it, but my personal experience with the feminist movement, okay, which you're referring to. Some of our sisters in Islam came to us maybe about 20 years ago, and they started talking about, oh, this and oh, that, and how come Islam I can't have. And one of the questions that a lady came up with at one of my lectures, she came out of the audience, she's not Muslim, she walked right up to the stage, she said, hey, like this, a big fat lady. She said, hey, how come you men, Muslim men, you can have 4 wives? How come we can't have 4 husbands? And all the people in the audience were like, wow, what a question, man. They were like, wow. It was at a university. So I said to her, excuse me, are you married? Yeah, why? I said, well, can you do something for me? Just close your eyes. She closed her eyes. I said, now imagine your husband. She opened her eyes. She said, what? I said, no, just imagine your husband. He just came home from work. He wants his slippers. He wants to sit in his favorite chair. He wants you to go get him a drink and bring it to him. And she said, yeah, that's him. Okay. Well, would you like to have another husband just like him? No way! I said, then why you want 4? Everybody started laughing. But the answer actually is very simple. That if a woman has more than one husband, there are 2 problems. One is that the child that she has doesn't really know who the father is. How can you know if your mom has 2 husbands, which one are you from, that one or that one? That's one. The second problem is disease. Because a woman who goes to more than one man intimately, that's the right way to say that in school, right? Anyway, so she is very apt to get a disease, even with 2 men. But a man who only goes to his own wives, there's no disease that develops from that. So there are 2 outside of Islam reasons. Inside Islam is very clear. The Arabs of the time of Rasulullah ﷺ, they had lots of wives, no limit. But they treated all of them like dogs, worse than dogs. They would beat them, they would harass them, they would shout at them. And when a newborn girl was born, they considered it a big shame, and they would take the little girl, the baby girl, to the desert and bury her alive in the burning sand. Did you know that? Yes, they did that, and they thought it was a big macho thing to do. The Quran forbid that and forbid them to oppress the women. Also that you cannot inherit women. You can't make them marry you They have to choose you. And you cannot marry the orphan girls, which is something that they used to do. That's the beginning of Surah An-Nisa. And the more you see, Islam is giving rights to the women that they never had before. But what about this? Let's change it. Instead of saying a man has 4 wives, the way the Quran brings it is actually something different. It says marry other women. Why? You didn't read the verse before it. It said, don't take these orphan girls and marry them to get their money. Marry other girls of your choice. Then it goes, itna, 2, talaq 3, arba, rabba is 4. And then it said, if you can treat all of them equally. Otherwise, marry 1. Many of the Sahabi, they were shocked. Not because they could have 4 wives, because they would have to get rid of wives they already had. And they could only keep the number that they could be fair to. And some of them said, you know what, I just want 1. Now, so you can see this in a different perspective. And today, we have a lot more women on this planet than we do men. Rasulullah told us in the last day, 1 man will be responsible for 50 women. 50 women. That's showing you immediately why you have to have, some guys can at least take more than 1 wife. Why? Because you live in New York. Did you know that some people have girlfriends? It's so common, it is so common that it becomes acceptable. Oh, I got a girlfriend. So big deal. They live together. Bah, big deal. That's nice. You thinking about getting married? Nah. Just be together. Kind of like I heard the sheikh say today. Shack up. Shack up. They stay in the same building together. Shack, you know. And if things don't work out, they shack out. That's what he said. I was shocked. I said, this is true though. Get a girlfriend, hang out for a while. It didn't work out, leave. What if she has a baby? I don't care. She can have it. It's okay with me. But if she doesn't want to, get, what do they call it? Abortion. Yeah, get abortion. It's okay. Do you know what I've just described? What I'm describing about New York right now, and actually the whole planet, everybody going to this idea, okay to have a girlfriend, don't marry her. Abuse her, no problem. How many girlfriends is it, the legal limit in New York State? How many girlfriends can you have at one time? No limit. Oh, okay. That's nice, isn't it? For who? For the guy. Very nice for the guy. Because he doesn't have to support any of them. Is a man in Islam supposed to support his family? Yes. Ayah 34 of the Quran in Surah An-Nisa. Rajulun. It starts with this word. Is responsible because Allah made him more powerful than the woman to take care of the women. Very clear. Who takes care of who? The women go out and get a job and support the man? No way. That is not what it says in Quran. Man's responsible. How many women today have to work to support their boyfriend that they live with? You heard about this, right? And they call it what? Modern. Huh? We call it Jahiliyyah. This is what they did before Islam came. They would take these women and no choice. The women can't have marriage with these guys. They don't want it. Do you feel like getting married? Nah, but you can live with me. Or I'll move in with you and then I can save the apartment thing. I don't have to pay it, you pay it. Seriously. And these women are working and supporting this guy because he's trying to get his head together. You know, he needs space. Yeah, go keep working. I'll play my guitar and I'll think about it. And by the way, I was in the music industry and I know a lot of guys that used to do exactly that. And if they had a child, the guy would say, hey, it's not mine. And she said, but if it is, it is. He said, oh, too bad. Get out. This is Jahiliyyah. This is definitely not feminism. This sounds to me exactly like what Sheikh was talking about in the video, the women of Dajjal. Because they are buying this line, hook, line, and sinker, and falling for the Antichrist who is coming. And the other thing, up until 100 years ago, 100 years ago, when my daddy was a little boy, the women all wore long dresses, long sleeves, and high collars. And most of them wore some kind of head covering, especially what they call babushka, which we call hijab. And I know that even in my time, I saw them, especially in the winter times, you see the women all wrapped up like this stuff. That's how they dressed all the time. In the churches especially, no woman would walk in and her head's not covered. Today, women go into church in what used to be bathing suits. There was a picture I saw of my mother in a bathing suit. You know what? It had a skirt on it. And it had long sleeves on it. And it was considered, you better not wear that anywhere except the beach. Imagine this. Oh, and she had to have a cap on her head too. Like we have, only it was made out of rubber to hold the hair, you know. That's a picture I saw. That was from the 1940s. Can you imagine how much we have lost? 1,400 years, the whole planet started becoming more like Muslims. So many things that you can find that actually came from Islam. The science, the medicine, that came from Islam. The behavior of the men to the women came from Islam. And now you have Dajjal is coming, and these people are turning right back to the Jahiliyyah. That's the best answer I can give. As far as I know, this is a movement not for feminism. It's a movement for Dajjal. And the real sisters of Islam, when we had a chance to talk to them about this, just simple things, they all said, no, we don't want that. But common sense, I asked them, they said, why Islam isn't equal for men and women? This is what the question they asked. Why is Islam not equal for men and women? I said, how? How do you want it to be equal? Why can't we pray right next to the men? Why can't the woman give the khutbah? I said, okay, let's go through this and find out what will happen. When, and maybe you like to dress like the men too. No, we'll keep the hijab, that's okay. Well, thank you for that. So, you're going to pray next to a man. But a man could be behind you, right? Do you really want to bend over in ruku or in sajda and there's a man looking at you behind you? You know what she said? Exactly. I never thought of that. I said, well, maybe Allah did. Who should be behind who? Because us guys, we don't care if women look at us when we're bending over or making sajda. Do we care? I could care less. I don't even think about it. But a woman would be thinking about it. Plus, if a woman's bending over in front of the men are going to think about it. Duh! Don't be stupid. Allah gave you something here, privacy, consideration. The Prophet ﷺ in the Fajr Salah, read the hadith. He did not turn around to look back until the women had time to get up and leave after the Fajr Salah. Plus it was dark. And this is amazing, the things they come up with. But I played a game like this. You know, I said, okay, well, so we're going to keep that the same way. They said, yeah, okay. How about the salah? I said, what do you mean? Well, if you want to make it equal, should be just the same. Yes. Okay, you want the salah to be exactly the same for the men and the women. Okay. By the way, a woman, she gets the most reward when she prays at home, in a private room, behind a screen. A man gets the most reward, go to the masjid, be in the front row on that side. And the Prophet ﷺ even told us you would gamble for that if it was legal in Islam to get this position. You want to change that? No. No. Okay. Well, how about this? Every month, a woman has a time, about a week out of every month, that she is not supposed to do salah. And she gets the reward of complete salah for 5 times a day, even though she didn't do it. Do you have any salah, as men, do you have any salah that is guaranteed to you? Nothing. Even when we go to Mecca and get 100,000 times, we're still not guaranteed, unless it, you know, like Hajj Mabrur. This means guaranteed. Okay? Yeah, that's guaranteed. Okay, good, if you make it back home. That's great. But really and truly, you don't know that the Salat al-Dhuhr you just made, you don't know it's guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. You hope so. You tried your best. But for them, 5 times a day for a whole week, out of every month is guaranteed. You want to change that? They said, no. No, we don't want to change that. I said, okay. How about fasting? Let's talk about fasting. And when we start breaking it down and they think, well, wait a minute. I have some days in fasting I don't have to do. And a woman, she gets so much reward just for feeding us. Because we're fasting, she's cooking. By the way, in some of the madhab, if she tastes the food, it doesn't break her fast anyway. Oh, you want to change that? They said, no! I said, no, just stop and think what you're talking about. How about the zakat? Now, zakat's the same for the men and the women, right? Hold on. Hold on. When a man dies and he leaves his wealth to his children, who gets the most?
The man. And the wife.
Who gets the most? You think? How much does he get?
If the woman has children or not, if he has children, she gets what?
If it's his daughter, if it's a daughter and a son, how much does the son get? How much does the daughter get?
Son gets half.
Son gets a half. Daughter gets quarter or third.
He has a wife or not?
So she gets less.
Yes, she gets less. Yes, anyway, she gets less.
Sheikh said a fourth. So that's fine. So 1/2 is half, for the son. But if there's 2 sons, they split the half. And if there's 2 daughters, they split the quarter, etc. Right? Okay. So it looks like the man is getting more, right? Let's go back to the verse in An-Nisa. Rajulan is responsible for the women. So out of his half, how much of his half is exposed to expenses for women? All of it. All of it. If the women there need food and clothing and shelter and education and so on, he's got to pay for it. How much does she have to pay out of her third or her fourth? Nothing. So now who has the most money? The woman.
There are 3 cases only. She takes more, the man takes more than the woman. Only 3 cases. The last cases, the woman takes more than the man.
Yep. The Sheikh is saying there are 3 cases where talking about there's an imbalance there, but in the last case, the women get more anyway. But the point is, women never have to give any money to the husband. The husband has to take from his to spend on his wives, on his children, on his mother. He has a big obligation from his wealth. I want to ask the sisters, you want to change that? They said, no way. I said, okay, so we got left, I guess, Hajj. Let's talk about Hajj. Now in Hajj, every Muslim are required to go for Hajj at least once in the lifetime. If Allah makes it easy for you, a way for you to go, you have to go. If you have the money, you can go, you go. Is that right? As soon as it's available, you go. Is that exactly the same for men and women? No, woman has to have mahram with her. She has to have mahram with her, right? Now what, if she doesn't have mahram with her, she can't find anybody that's like her close brother or father to take her, then she doesn't get to make Hajj. On Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah will give her a full Hajj because she always had the desire to try to fulfill the obligation. Allah will make it there for her. Yes or no?
Yes.
So, you want to change that? They said no. I said, it looks like you don't want to change anything about Islam so far. So after this, the women went back to their so-called feminist movement. They said, take it out of our masjid. Get it out of here. We're happy with what we got. We're happy with what Allah gave us. We're happy with the hadith of our Prophet ﷺ. And if you're not happy, la ikraha fi din, hit the door. Yeah, that's the way they treated her. And so the whole idea is something that needs to be really looked at carefully by both sides. And may Allah guide all of us and keep us on His Sirat al-Mustaqim. Ameen. Allahumma ajalni, keep us, all of us, as true believers, mu'mineen, and make us of the ones who submit to you in al-Islam. Ameen. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد.
ITV, Call of Peace, Save Humanity.